I saw, right, shiny object, this price much lower. And I was like, oh, we can book that. That's a few $100s we can use on the island, right? So I did all this and look, shiny object. The things didn't turn out the way it was supposed to, right? It didn't happen as smoothly as it did before in the past and things of that sort. It did not. But I'm like, oh gosh, I could have just kept what we had, right? We could have just keep our accommodations booked and don't mess with this stuff. But I saw that shiny object, like, ooh, look at this price. To some, boundaries are just placing limits. To me, it's where the limitless things begin. Hello, 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 and thank you for tuning into the Boundaries and More podcast with Jas Abraham. I am your host, Jas Abraham, and today's episode is brought to you by Joyful Styles. Joyful Styles is a lifestyle brand that provides premium quality apparel that promotes joy and positivity. Joyful Styles believes how we approach a situation matters, and choosing to be joyful makes all the difference. You have the power, and it's time to embrace it. So get your Joyful Styles apparel at joyfulstyles.com. That's JoyfulStylez.com. Let's go, let's go. Also, you all, for your Joyful Styles gear, check the show notes. There is a discount code for you. So you want some Joyful Styles gear, check the discount code and type that in on the website, okay? At checkout. Also, if you have not taken the boundaries quiz yet, take some time right now. Just stop the episode. I know you're going to come back and listen. So just stop the episode. Click that link in the show notes to take that boundaries quiz. Also, if you don't want to do all that, it's okay. We can have a nice low personal connection. Just text me. Text me the word boundaries to 210-801-9153 and I got you. It is really me and my number and I will text you over what you need and yeah, we'll go from there. So I want to get into this today. I'm excited about this episode. I'm excited about a lot of the episodes. Really all of them, truth be told. Okay. All these episodes, I get to be here and do this for you all. And I'm super, super excited. Again, it's one of my favorite things to do. I think I've mentioned that in one of the episodes before, but I'm here to tell y'all right now, this is one of my favorite things to do. And I am so grateful. I thank God that I'm able to do this, right? So look, y'all, I want to get into it. Y'all see the name of the episode, right? So you're like, what, Jas? What you talking about? Some of y'all may have heard this saying before or know just a little bit about it, but I'm gonna go into concept. I'm gonna get into how I'm gonna look at this, right? You see it, shiny object syndrome, right? Shiny object syndrome. Okay. So before I even get into that, I'm gonna give y'all this definition or what I'm talking about, the way I'm referring to it and things of that sort. Yeah, but I just want to get into this. Like, y'all, hey, you've been here a while, you've been listening, then you know my wife and I, we travel a whole lot. And one thing is recently we added another trip to the calendar this year, right? We have another itinerary on the calendar. Crazy thing about this one, it is sooner than all the other trips we already had planned. So we'll be going on that trip soon. Right. So with that trip, right, like we've been, doing the things like this place somewhere we want to go, all this stuff, that part, like, not what we're talking about here. So let me tell you, we have booked our accommodations, got all the stuff booked. The flights was booked. We've been doing real good. We traveled a whole lot last year. So we had a whole lot of points we was able to use for this year and stuff too. So I was utilizing that like, hey, let's save us some money. Like we can use that money on the island, whatever, all these different things. So I go in there and I check the flight, I don't know. Actually, what really got me looking at it, see, shiny object syndrome, right? Y'all gonna see I'm going somewhere. What got me looking at it is I opened my iPad and boom, there it was, right? The flights I was previously looking at, right? We had already booked it the night before. But I was looking at my iPad. I opened it because I was going to do something else. And I saw that and I was like, let me see. Let's just refresh this page and let me see what these flights look like now. In my mind, yes, I wanted it to be much higher than what we booked it for because I'm like, all right, well, we waited a little bit, but we got a decent deal on this and stuff. But man, let me tell y'all, the price was lower. The price was lower, like a few $100s lower, right, than what it was for what we had booked it for. So, because in the past I've done this, what I did, I used partial points, partial money, all that stuff. What I done in the past is I called the people to cancel the stuff, pointed out they reinstate my points, and I just rebooked at the lower price, things of that sort. I've done it. Nothing like y'all, let me tell y'all. But yeah, as a matter of fact, we're not even gonna get into whole that. That's another episode. I'm actually gonna get deeper into that stuff. But what I want to bring is that I saw, right, shiny object, this price much lower, and I was like, oh, we can book that. That's a few $100s we can use on the island, right? So I did all this, and look, shiny object. The things didn't turn out the way it was supposed to, right? It didn't happen as smoothly as it did before in the past and things of that sort. It did not. But I'm like, oh gosh, I could have just kept what we had, right? We could have just keep our accommodations booked and don't mess with this stuff. But I saw that shiny object, like, ooh, look at this price. And I was like, yeah, about that. Okay. Shiny object syndrome. So let me just get into it. I'm gonna give y'all the definition of what I'm talking about. Y'all can kind of see with that example there. But for those of you, I'm gonna be going deeper. Don't worry. So look. Oh, also, I want to say this, right? I'm saying all this, but there is more to it, right? We're not just going to be talking about shiny object syndrome. We're going to talk about ways to avoid and overcome this stuff too. All right. So, yeah, that's what we're going to get into today. But when I'm referring to the shiny object syndrome, I'm talking about hopping on every trend or hopping on to the next thing or project without completing or getting to a place of sustainability for what's already in front of you, right? This is my way again. Y'all go out there, y'all go Google this stuff. Y'all gonna see all different types of definitions and meanings and all this stuff for this. But this is what I'm referring to today, okay? Hopping on every trend or hopping on to the next thing or project without completing or getting to a place of sustainability. What's in front of you, what's already in front of you, right? Focusing on one thing before moving on to the next, finishing one thing or completing one thing or getting into a place of sustainability for one thing before moving on to the next. I mean, I can't tell you, truth be told, the way my personality is set up, I definitely am a very creative person and I like to implement certain things. I've changed throughout the last year or two, but it's like, yeah, this thing, I got this idea, executing on all of the things without really focusing in on one thing and making sure that this one thing is really rocking before going to the next thing, right? It's just like, but it's something about, I guess, for those of you who may be similar to me or like me, it's just something about creating and seeing something in your mind, bringing it to life, and like, okay, boom, let's go to the next thing. Like but we need to marinate a little bit in that stuff. But knowing that about yourself, right? I'm gonna go ahead and get into the ways to avoid. We're not gonna be here too long today. I mean, we never really are, but I want to just get into this because again, I'm not just here to put this out there like, oh, this is what it is, the end. No. We're here for you to be able to implement, right, real practical things in your life, like starting today, that can make it better for you, right? Things that'll make your life better. And so ways to avoid and or overcome, right? Number one, I need for you to understand the way that you work, right? Understand the way that you work. Like we live in a society where people like, this is the way you should do it. That's the way you should do it. They're not necessarily keeping you in or thinking about you, right? Having you in consideration, your preferences, the way that you move, like how you naturally are, etc. Right? So understand the way that you work, right? I have an episode, find your rhythm. Go check that out. I believe that's episode 25, right? But go check that episode out and get a little more deep into that stuff. But finding your own rhythm, knowing how you work, knowing what you prefer. Now, with that said, though, I want it to be knowing how you work, but not getting stuck in your own preference especially when it's not working for you. Right. So I want to put that out there now. Like Jazz say, know how I work, understand how I work. Yeah. But also making sure that you if it ain't working for you, something must change. It's time for something different. And we're going to get this something different. Okay. So I'm going to put that out there for those of you who heard it and just ran. No, 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 no. Come back. Come back. Listen to that part. If it is not working for you, then we do something else. We implement different things, tactics, strategies, whatever. Right. It must be working for you the way that you work. Now, if it's not, that's another story. And again, we gonna listen to some of these things. Maybe you do follow another path. Okay. I'm going straight into it again. Number two is to stay like, okay. Number two, just set focused goals, right? Set very, very, very focused and specific goals, but write them down too. Right? Don't just think it in your mind and do the thing like, no, 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 no. Write it down as well. It's something powerful that happens when we write it down, right? People say like putting a pen to pad and things. I tend to put, I guess, I type it in my iPhone or my iPad or on my computer and things like that. I just personally like that way better. I do believe soon I'll be getting back into writing certain things down because I do write some things down, but it's not my favorite way of note taking. And I do it on my phone and other devices for a reason. I just like it better that way and it works for me. But whatever you do and whatever your preference, right? Set focus goals and write them down, right? So what that looks like, right? So say, this week or this month or this quarter, like I'm focused on XYZ, right? XYZ can be one thing, or XYZ can be literally X, Y, and Z, right? But this week, this month, this quarter, I'm focused on X, Y, Z, and then only do the things that support X, Y, Z, or X and Y and Z, okay? Right? So if this week you're focused, I'm gonna give you a super, super practical example because I don't want people to get in mixed up with the letters and like what you talking about, what you really, really talking about, right? If you are, let's say, when you do this, right? If you're saying like this week, all right, this week my focus is, let's say if you're a content creator, this week my focus is X amount of content, right? I'm going 5 pieces of content this week so I can have one for each day, right? Let's just use that as an example. First thing that came to mind. So if that's the focus for the week, then you're only doing the things that support that. So if you need to record the content, or you need to edit the content, if you need to schedule out the content, whatever that looks like for that content or whatever, that's what you're focused on, right? So set focus goals and write them down, right? You can get into all the other stuff, maybe the things that need to be done around the house or go the errands that need all that stuff, but make sure that your focus goals are set and it's set up to support you for achieving that particular goal. I believe that makes sense to a lot of you. But I want to say this, right? This is the Boundaries and More podcast. This right here is truly where that setting boundaries with yourself heavily comes into play, right? Like it is important at this point for you to really set those boundaries. Because if that's whatever that is, that thing is your goal. If you say, hey, I'm going to write 500 words this week, 100 words a day or something, right? Everything must be set up to support that, or is distraction. It's a distraction and you don't need it. Okay. We're not getting distracted, right? We still in the first month of the new year, right? Some of your things may or may not be going the way that you thought it should be. But look, these things can help you so that you're not just, oh, squirrel, shiny object. Oh, let me just jump on here. What they're doing. Let me see that. Let me do. No, focus on your thing, right? Find your rhythm, be on your path, stay in your lane, right? Let's go. Also, one of the things that Be very, very helpful. I believe I mentioned this in another episode. But either way, I'm going to let y'all know here with this. Part of this can help you with your focus goals is setting those time blocks, right? Then boundaries, setting boundaries with your page, with yourself and putting those boundaries in place. So if you're saying, hey, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., I'm working on X, right? I'm working on this thing so that, yeah, I do the things that support this thing from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., right? Take that time and actually do that, right? Hold true to your time blocks to actually get that thing done. Now, if you go beyond 2 p.m., then okay, that's on you. But focus on that window that you set for yourself. At bare minimum, get that done, right? I would suggest making the time blocks and then taking a break to do something else and coming back to it potentially or things of that sort, because we don't want you to get burnt out in that way. That's a whole nother podcast. But so when you're setting these time blocks and you're working on certain things, just making sure you're getting up, stretching your legs and stuff. Definitely after that time block is out. And it doesn't have to be an hour. Maybe that's 30 minutes for you. Maybe that's 15 minutes. But whatever that is, set that time block. And then this is the thing I'm doing in this time block. Some things I've helped clients and just people do to help support this when they're setting their focus goals and things of that sort is putting that focus mode on your phone, right? I'm recording a podcast right now. So what am I doing? I put my phone in podcasting mode. Like I have a focus mode that say podcasting. Put it on there. There's nobody can get through. Nobody gonna be calling me, texting me, whatever, because this is my time, right? That I'm recording a podcast. That's it. There, no one can interrupt that, right? So put that focus on. When I'm done, I'll check my phone, take it off podcast mode. It'll show me all the notifications. It'll still be there. I'll get to them when I get to them. Look, it's okay. So you don't take that in consideration and do some of those things. So setting specific goals for the week, super focus goals, writing them down and doing only the things that support that goal. All right. Yes, yes, yes. So, number 3, right? We're going to get it in, get out. This is actually the last one that I'm going to give you for today. But the third one here is just celebrate your wins, right? So, if you celebrating your wins, you're not necessarily thinking about all the shiny objects out there. Like, oh, that looks good. What they doing? What they doing over there? What, like, focus on you and your wins, the things that you've done, the things that you're doing, right? It makes a difference. So you're not just so caught up in what everybody else is doing, seeing that new shiny object. Like, let me just hop on this trend. Let me just do this thing. Oh, let me just do this little video because everybody else doing one like this or whatever. Like, come on, celebrate your wins, the things that you've been doing, looking at the progress you've made, looking at things you've accomplished. Like when you go back and you see like, oh, this track record, look, yeah, I've been winning. I've been doing this. You're more focused on your own goals because it's been working for your path, right? Your own path, your own lane. Like stay on that thing, okay? I got this thing like I do. I said that, but I want to say like that's why I do these good morning videos. Now I've transitioned to where I'm just doing these, doing it for my community, right? I have a private community for when I'm doing this good morning inspirational videos, things of that sort. But previous to having my private community and me doing this, I've done this for over 9+ years, right? So 9+ years of doing this, but in the last year or two, particularly on Fridays, I've been telling people, hey, celebrate those wins. Celebrate those wins. It's super, super important. I tell people, don't minimize them. Just celebrate them. And that's what I'm telling y'all here today. Don't minimize those wins. Celebrate each and every win that you got, because you being grateful and thankful about your wins that you've gotten this week, this month, this year. Yep, I know this year I've just started. It's okay, right? We're still early in the year, but look, think about the wins you got last year. Even if it wasn't the way you thought it would be, you won. It was wins. It were some wins up in there. There were some wins up in there. So celebrate those things. Really, really choose the focus on the wins to show that, hey, yeah, you on the right path. Let's just keep doing this thing. Let's not get distracted, right, by all the shiny objects out there. We're not doing that shiny object syndrome thing, right? We just being focused and doing our thing, right? So celebrate those wins. Don't minimize it. I want to just do run through these quickly again so that you have it broken up. But I want you all to know again the ways that you can avoid and or overcome this shiny object syndrome. Y'all, I'm getting tongue tied with this thing. Okay, I don't even know why, but the ways that you can avoid and or overcome the shiny object syndrome is by, again, one, understanding the way that you work, right? But taking consideration, right, of your preferences not necessarily working out for you, then that's something else we can talk about. But understand the way that you work, the way that you receive the information, etc. Right? Understand your path, right? The way that you work. Also, understanding setting the focus, right? Set focus goals, right? Setting those focus goals and writing them down, right? That's another thing. And then celebrating those wins. Celebrate each and every win that you got this week, this month, this year, last year. Just seeing the continuation of those wins, but celebrate those wins. Don't minimize those things. It's super, super important. And we want to make sure that you are celebrating those wins. Okay. Yep. So that's all I have for you all today, right? We talking shiny object syndrome. Y'all, I'm gonna get this thing. I don't even know why. Way before now, there was no issues, but now here I am. And this jink trying to give me tongue tied. Okay, I'm not gonna have it. Shiny object syndrome. Okay, we overcoming. Okay, avoiding and overcoming these things. All right. So look, y'all. I want y'all to just go out, not don't get distracted, right? Don't get distracted. Don't let the little shiny price for that flight after you're already booked and taking care of them accommodations get you. Yep, don't let it do to you what it did to me. Nope, this is we avoiding and overcoming these things, right? And the crazy thing is, I had this episode, this topic planned long before this situation happened, but I'm like, yep, that's part of me. I'm definitely gonna be using that on the podcast, looking at things that way, because it's important. It's important. But y'all, seriously, shiny object syndrome, right? Know the way you work, set focus goals, and write them down, and celebrate those wins. Those are some of the ways that you can avoid and or overcome this thing. Yeah, if y'all want to go into more detail, just reach out to me. Matter of fact, comment below this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening to on some other platform just via audio, come hang out with us and follow us on Instagram, right? That's at Boundaries and More Podcast on Instagram. So come over there. Let's keep this conversation going, and tell me some of the things that you've been avoiding and overcoming when you notice this shiny object syndrome coming up in your space, in your world. Let me know, okay? Again, that's on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. And y'all, I want you all to go out and have an amazingly beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and be back here next week for more Boundaries and More with Jess Abraham. Talk to y'all then.